Hi everyone. Good evening. This side Azuksha Guha. And today we are going to start with the SQL part. Yesterday after the completion of the dashboard project on Excel, we have started with the SQL a bit. And today, like yesterday, like basically the last session, we have just covered up related to the relational database, sorry, relational database along with some part of the SQL. So today we will be just carrying it forward from that part and will understand all of the concepts related to SQL. Okay. If after that we have time, then we'll go ahead with SQL Workbench and we'll write the queries, create the table, write the queries to get the data so that how it is actually working, you can get to know easily. Okay. So let me just first share my screen. Okay, fine. Yeah. So hopefully my screen is visible to you. And here we are going to discuss about SQL in a bit detailed way. So SQL basically. So we are going to discuss about it. So SQL is like if you can imagine that you have a big cupboard at your place. Okay. So inside the cupboard, one drawer has the student name, another drawer has the marks, another drawer has the age. So this cupboard in general is called the database. Okay. So database is just the place where we store a lot of information safely. Okay. Now coming down to SQL, SQL is like the language we actually use to talk to this database. Okay. So that is SQL. So SQL in real time, it is a structured query language, and we don't want to get into like what exactly the form and why the name is like that or something like that. So the main thing is SQL is a language that asks questions to the database, and based on that we are getting the result from it. Okay, so that is all about it. As you all know, data is just the information. So, for example, what is the example of data can be your name, your age, your marks, your any of the favorite color, that is the data because that is giving a certain information about you, right? So that is data. Now, how the data is getting stored in SQL, that needs to be understood in a correct way. Okay, so how data is stored in SQL or in a table, sorry, data is stored in a table format. That's what we want to discuss. As SQL, as I told, it is the language by which we are communicating with the database. Okay, so the data is getting stored like suppose we have the columns, right, roll number, then we have the name, then we have the age, then we have the marks, like that. So we have the roll number as one, roll number as two, the name we are coming as Ravi, then the name is coming out as Asha, then age is coming out around suppose 10, and we have the age as suppose 9, the marks the person has got is around 85, and the marks is around 90. Okay, so this data is stored like a in a tabular format, in a table format. So this is called the table. So SQL works with this table basically. Okay, so this is all about the SQL. In the last session, we have already discussed in details about SQL. If you are not getting it, you can just refer to the last session where we have discussed in more details. This is just a recap we are having so that the next part of it can be taken smoothly. Okay. Now coming down, why do we need SQL? Okay, so imagine that you like your any of the university or college has suppose one student, so it is easy to remember the details, right? But of course, your school, college, or any of the any of the university there you are studying currently, that doesn't contain 1 or 10 students, right? It contains around, suppose, 1 lakh or 10 lakh students. So in that case, remembering the data of each and every student or just segregating it just by using pen and paper would be difficult, right? So, like, no human can just do it accordingly because the data is too huge. Okay, so we need a system or a computer to store the data, a smart way to answer that question. Okay, whatever be the questions that we are getting, to get it accordingly. So this smart way of tackling of any of the queries that we are having about the data can be taken based on the SQL. Okay, so what can we ask use what can we ask using SQL, right? What kind of questions we can ask, right? So using SQL, we can ask our database, like, show me all of the student name who are studying in class 10, who got more marks than 80% or whose marks are above 80%. What is the highest marks? We need to add a new student. We can do that. We can delete a wrong data. We can do that. If some of the pass out student data, suppose 10 or 12 years data, we want to delete, we can delete that. We can update the marks. If there is any wrong entry, we can do that. All of this stuff we can do it. So SQL understand all of these questions or queries, and based on that, it takes the necessary steps to do it. Okay. Now, where is SQL used in real life? Like, we have talked about it, but there must be a need that these are the areas where we would be needing the SQL in real life, right? So you can think about school, you can think about bank, you can think about any of the application basically, then shopping apps like e-commerce site. We would be needing SQL in real time, in real life, because in that case the data are huge, and in that case maintaining each and every data is way difficult, right? So to manage it, we need a database, and to connect with the database to just ask the relevant question to database, we need SQL. Okay, so in school you can ask about the student records, the attendance record of the students, the marks of each of the student, that can be taken. Coming down to bank, you have your account, so your balance is getting updated each now and then, right? You are doing your payments using QR, or you are doing any of the using Google Pay or GP or Paytm, like any of the application, you are doing the e-banking, right? So that you are doing, so every time your data is getting updated, so your records needs to be taken accordingly. So your account balance, your ATM money, your transaction, all of this data is getting stored in database. Coming down to app or website or any of the application, so you have a specific, like in your Instagram, you can think about the Instagram photos, WhatsApp messages, YouTube videos, all of this are getting stored in the database. Okay. So this is what about it. Coming down to the shopping app or in any of the e-commerce app. So Amazon, what are the orders has been placed in a single day in Amazon? What are the Flipkart orders? What are the payment history? All these apps use the SQL behind the scene. Okay. So why coming down, we want to just understand why SQL is that important, right? Because the major and the most important thing is SQL stores the data safely. So your marks, your bank details, everything won't get lost. So you can find the data faster, even if there are millions of records. SQL would find the answer of any of the query in seconds. Okay, and also, of course, it is like a normal English. It is easy to learn, and you can just take it accordingly. Okay, so this is about the SQL and the details. Now coming down to the basic SQL operations. So in the last session, we have actually discussed about the types of SQL and went in very like minimal way, like just to make you understand what are the parts. So today we'll try to cover this up in a more detail so that you can understand what are the part that needs to be taken accordingly. Okay. Now coming down, SQL. SQL is of course the language to talk to data. Data where data is leaving. Data is leaving in the table, and this table actually lies in database. This flow you need to understand. Okay. Let me just write it up for you so that you can understand it properly. So SQL is basically language to talk to data, where data is leaving. Data is staying in tables. Coming down after that, we have tables that leaves in database. Okay, tables that live in database. Okay, so you can think about any of the classroom, right? So the classroom is the database. The notebook that the student is having, that is basically the table, because in the notebook in itself all of the proper informations are given. Okay, so the rows are basically the students and the columns are basically the name, age, marks of the student that are that are getting, right? So this are all about the parts of SQL. Now SQL operations, that is what exactly each of this are coming from, that we will be discussing. So basically, we have to understand the five main types of work that SQL do. So five main types. The very first one, that is DDL. So coming down, DDL. What is DDL? DDL is data definition language. Data definition language. So that is actually data definition language. Okay, so you can understand that DDL is data definition language. So what it does, it actually builds the thing. It actually builds the thing, right? So yeah, so you can understand about it. The five main types is DDL, that is data definition language, and it actually builds the thing. So what majorly, if you are discussing about it, so we'll just first stack up all of the types, and then one by one we'll discuss all of it. Okay. So DDL, then come down to DML. DML is data manipulation language. Data manipulation language, that is the changes the data. It actually changes the data. Coming down to DQL, what is DQL? DQL is data query language. DQL is data query language. So what is the name suggesting? DQL. That is data query language. So we can ask questions. Okay. So we can ask questions. Coming down to DCL. Okay. So DCL is data control language. And coming down to the what it does part. So DCL is data control language. It actually gives the permission. Okay. Next, coming down to TCL. TCL is transaction control language. And coming down to this, like what exactly it does, it's like undo or save the work. Okay. Okay, so these are the five main types, that is DDL, DML, DQL, DCL, and TCL. DDL is data definition language, that is it builds the thing. DML is data manipulation language, that it changes the data accordingly. DQL is data query language, so it asks the question accordingly. DCL is data control language, that is it gives the permission. TCL is transaction control language, that is, it undoes or save the work. Fine. So let's just discuss one by one in detail. Okay. So first we will be discussing about DDL. So DDL is data definition language. So in simple meaning, DDL is used to create or change the structure of the table. Okay. So like building or changing the any of the proper stuff in the in any of the like you can think about building or changing the desks in the classroom like that. It is because each of the desks is considered as a table up here. Okay, now what does DDL can do? It can create table. Okay, let's write it. Create table. Then what it can do, it can change the table. Next, after that, it can delete the table. It can delete the table. Now, coming down to the part, or if we have to give an example, in that case, we can say that, like, suppose anyone is saying, like, let's create a new class register, right? So, suppose in the same class, you are telling, like, let's create a new class register. So, that is DDL, okay? So, like, creating the table is coming down under DDL. So, there is a like the SQL command that we need to check for that. So that we will be seeing when we will be going down and working in SQL workbench. Okay. So what exactly it means? It like creating a table. Like we can give a name of the table, like this table I want to create. So that can be a command. Like SQL is pretty much easy. Like just in English, like just as you tell in English, the same way you can just like tell or make the SQL understand. The language wise, it is quite easy to interact. Okay. So, what are the easy commands that we can do and take it from all? That is the create one, the alter one, the drop one, and the truncate. Okay. So, what is the easy commands that we can remember about it? That is the create. So that makes some new concepts like new tables altogether. Alter it like changes the structure. Coming down to drop, drop is deleting anything completely. Next, we have truncate that just remove all of the data accordingly. Okay. Coming down to DML. So DML is basically data manipulation language. As it suggests, DML is used to add, change, or remove the data inside the table. Like you can say about writing or erasing the name in the class register. That can be an example for this because that can be like suppose there is any wrong entry, we can just change it. If there is, we want to add a new student, we can do that. If we need to remove any of the student who has suppose left it out, we can do all of it. Okay. So that is coming down as a DML. DML is data manipulation language. Data manipulation language. And coming down, what are the parts that it contains? So it can add new student. It can add new students. It can update the marks. And next, it can delete a student. this all of the tasks that DML can be done. Okay. So suppose a new student joins your class or joins your batch. In that case, what will be the in charge of the teacher? The teacher will write the name in the register. That is an updation that she has made, right? So that is DML. Coming down to DQL. So DQL is data query language. DQL is data query language. So DQL is used to ask questions and to see the data, right? So suppose I want to get the answer who got more marks, like the highest marks basically. Okay. So in that case, DQL actually shows the data and find the answer for me. Okay. So this is the part of DQL, that is data query language. The action or the part that it does, it shows the data and accordingly, just a minute, and accordingly it finds the answer. Okay, so this is the work of DQL. Now suppose any of the teacher in this class wants to know, show me all of the students who have scored above suppose 80. Okay, so that is coming under DQL. Okay, so that is the DQL. So here the main command that is coming is select. Okay. So for this, if you are going up here, for this, the main commands that we are calling, that is insert. Then we have the update. Then we have the delete. These are the main part that we can talk about in DML. And if we had to just understand about, if we need to understand about DDL, then that is create. Then we have alter. Then we have drop. And we have truncate. Okay, let's just write it here. Okay. So these are the parts, like these are the commands: create, alter, drop, truncate. So create is to make some new table or anything new you want to create. For creating new table, we are using create. Next, for alter, to change the structure of the table, I am using alter. To drop the table completely, I use drop. And truncate, to remove all of the data that I have inserted inside the table. For that, I'll use truncate. Okay. So this is all about, and about DML, it is quite easy because here we are doing the data manipulation. So we are using insert. Insert is to insert a new data. Coming down to update, I want to update a existing data. I want to delete new data. In that case, I am using delete, and to update and all like already existing data, I am using update. Now for DQL, DQL as we are going for DQL is the data query language where it actually shows the data and finds the answer. In that case, we will be needing a command that is select. Okay, so this is about the DQL. Now coming down to DCL. So DCL is data control language. So here basically what happens, so DCL decides who can see or change the data. So it is like who is allowed kind of setup that it goes for. Now, if you have to understand, like suppose the teacher is in the classroom or anything is saying like only the class monitor has the access to edit the register, not all of the students. So that is a permission, right? That is the permission that is given. So there is a restriction that has been given to other students irrespective of the like the monitor basically, right? So that is coming down in DCL. Okay. So that is coming for DCL. So here we are using the commands like basically here who is actually allowed that kind of setup is coming on. So it's like DCL decides who can see or change the data. So DCL decides who can change the data. Okay. So this is the DCL that actually decides who can change the data accordingly. Now coming down here, what are the commands that basically we are taking from here? The commands that we are taking that are grant and we have revoke. Okay, grant is for giving the permission and revoke is to take the permission. Okay, so these are the commands that we are using in case of DCL. Grant is like giving, I want to give this student or this person any kind of permission to just check with the data or just check with the files accordingly. So that is the permission granted. And revoke is like suppose someone is leaving it, right? Some one monitor is not available, so he will be just leaving it, not continuing with the school. So like any of for any of the reason, for that case, he has the access of the of changing of editing the register, right? In that case, the permission that has been given to that person will be revoked. Okay, so that is DCL. Next, coming down, we have TCL. TCL is transaction control language. Okay. So TCL is basically transaction control language. So to undo and save the item, we are using TCL. Okay. So TCL helps to save or undo the change. It's like pressing Control Z, right? As you understand, like doing undoing the task. And if you need to save it, we generally press Control S. So the same thing is the work of TCL. Okay. So suppose the example we are taking here, like suppose the teacher writes a wrong mark. So then it will say that like undo that because that is not in the range. Suppose the range is coming for like suppose the data type that you have chosen for that is an integer, but you are trying to go for any of the textual base. So that is actually giving us a problem that I want to undo the last change and I want to do it accurately. So that for that we are using rollback. Okay. So that is actually coming down rollback. Right. So basically, what are the commands that can be used along with rollback? We have the commit. Commit is to save the changes. Like after we have done it, we need to commit it. Commit means we have to save all of the changes. And rollback is just like undo the changes. Then we have save point. Okay, so we have save point that save a checkpoint. Okay, so I want to save a checkpoint that is there. So that is coming down to TCL. TCL is transaction control language that is basically to save and undo the changes. So TCL actually helps to save or undo whatever the changes has been made. Rollback is the command. Commit is the command. Along with that, save point is the command. Commit is to save the changes. Rollback is to just undo the changes. Save point is to save a specific checkpoint. Okay. So this is all about the different operations that we do inside SQL. So let's just discuss each of it in a simple way so that you can just have a recapitulation of whatever we have studied till now and you can just recap everything. Okay. So DDL is it builds the structure accordingly. DML, it make the changes in the data accordingly. DQL, it actually asks the specific question. Basically, the querying part has been taken by DQL. DCL is the permissions that it actually takes, and TCL is to undo or save the part. Okay, so DDL actually builds, DML do the changes, DQL ask the question, DCL is allow, like it gives the permission or gives allow, like who can edit, who cannot edit, like this kind of permission, and TCL is the save or the undo part. Okay, so this is the whole structure. Okay, now coming down the core concept of SQL, that is table, primary key, foreign key, relationships, all of it. Okay, so we will be understanding each of them in detail. So what is table? Okay, so table is just like the notebook page with rows and columns. So this is an Excel sheet. So each of the sheet you can think about a table. Like let me just yeah, this one is a proper Excel sheet. Here you'll be getting all of the cells that are built using rows and columns, right? All of the cells basically are made up of rows and columns. So a table is like a notebook page. You can think that is comprises with this rows and columns. Now here we can add the values accordingly. Like any of the table we need to add, we can add it. So let's just add it. Suppose the same one we have created one, right? Yes. So we have roll number, name, age, and the marks. So this is the table basically. Let's just take it here. Yes. So we have it accordingly here. Now this column, this roll number, name, age, they are in specific columns. So this is the D column, this is the E column, this is the F column, this is the G column. This is according to Excel, okay? So this column is the type of information. What column signifies the type of information. Okay, and coming down to row is the information of each of the student. What is row? Row is the information of each of the student. Okay, so that is coming up accordingly. So this whole thing is called the table, like comprising of rows and columns. So this entire thing is called the table. So here, basically, in real life example, if you need to understand, we were discussing about the school register, right? That school register is a table. Coming down the phone contact list, that can be a table. Next, bank account details, that can be a table. Okay. So this is about table. Hopefully you understood what this table is all about. Coming down to primary key. Okay. So primary key. So what is a primary key? A primary key is a special column that is unique. Like no same columns we will be getting that are actually having the same values, right? So it is, and it is never empty. These are the criteria of a primary key. So primary key is just like a special column. Okay. So what is it? A special column. And what are the characteristics? Is it's unique. So we will won't be getting any of the value that is repeating itself. Okay. So if it has one value in a single position, that value will be there only. That won't be repeated in that column again. Okay. So that is the primary key. Coming next characteristics is it's never empty. So that is it is not non null, not null. Okay. So it is not null. So it actually helps to identify 1% exactly about the roll numbers. You can think about this roll numbers. In a class, the roll numbers can't be repeating itself. If the roll number one is a specific person, like it signifies Ravi, If roll number one signifies Ravi, Asha won't be represented by roll number one. She has a specific roll number, that is two. That is unique for each of the student, right? So that is the part you can think about. So the roll number here is the primary key. So no two students have the same roll number. Every student has one and single and unique roll number that will be signifying it. Okay. Now primary key is like just like the ID card number. So Aadhaar card number, school roll number, mobile number, that is not same for any other person in the same world. Okay. So about the roll numbers, if we are varying it to different school, different class, it would be same. But for the single school, single class, single section, the roll numbers cannot be repeating itself. Okay. So this is about primary key. Now coming down to foreign key. Okay, foreign key. So foreign key is like what is foreign key? So foreign key is a column that connects one table to another. Okay, so it is like just like a link or a bridge you can call. So it actually connects one table to another. So suppose the student we are having the student ID, like let's take it as student ID. We have the name of the student. Sorry, name of the student, like the student ID is 1 and student ID is 2 and the name is Ravi and Asha. Fine. So let's just do it and align it in the middle so that it looks good. Yeah, fine. So this is the understanding. Now coming down to another table. So this is the student table, suppose. Okay. Let's create another table. The name of the table is marks table. Okay. So marks table, if we are discussing about marks table, we have marks ID. We have student ID and we have the marks. Okay. Coming down here, suppose the marks ID is 101, the marks ID is 102, and the student ID is 1, student ID is 2, and the marks is suppose 85 and 90. That we have taken initially, that we have just put it here. Okay. Now here the student ID is there in the student table and also there in marks table. Right? Let's just format it first so that it becomes easier for you to understand and look into as well. Okay. So these are the two tables. So this student ID column, you can see it is there in student table. The same like the formatting should also be same for it. So let's take it like that. About the marks table, this is also same, right? So the student ID in marks table is the foreign key. So it points to student ID in student table. Okay. So that is about foreign key. So foreign key is actually the borrowed ID from another table. Here we haven't given the name, we haven't include the name section here. It's just the borrowed ID that we have taken from the student table in the marks table. Okay. Coming down to the type of relationship. Okay. So type of relationship. Yes, in the last section we have already discussed about the types of relationships. So we'll just take just a view about it. So number one is one to one. Next we have one to many, and we have many to many. Okay. So one student is having one ID, right? So you can see that Ravi has a single ID, that is student ID 1, and that has been reflected here as well in the marks table, right? So that is actually one to one. So one student, one ID, that is one to one. One to many. So one student can have many marks, like the subject wise, the marks is coming, right? So for Ravi, if we have taken a marks table for a single subject. Accordingly, can have different tables like maybe English, math, science, any of them. So that is one student with many marks. So that is actually one to many kind of ideology that we are getting, and many to many, that is many students have many subjects. So Ravi and Asha, they are two different students that they have the subjects as math, science, English, all of it together. So that is many students, many subjects. That is coming down to many relationships. Okay. Now, if you need to understand how everything is working together in a better way, how everything is working together. So in that case, we will have a student ID, a student name. Of course, we have the student ID as student name. Then we have suppose the course ID. Like then there should be a course table. There should be a course table. So that will contain the course ID and it contains the course. Okay, so it contains the course. So the course ID is 101, suppose, and we have the course as 102, and the course may be as math. Okay, and here suppose science. Okay, like this. Next, like finally, if we need to just wrap it up, so this is the relationship that we are getting using this course table. Okay, so this is the course table we have got. Now, suppose if we are adding another table, that is suppose the enrollment table. Enrollment table we are getting, so that is student ID. Next, we have the course ID. So this I am just showing to make you understand the relationship using the foreign key. So we are using the like borrowed ID from two columns, that is student table and the course table. So enrollment ID is suppose we are taking as one, and we are taking the course ID as 101. We are student ID we are taking two, and the course ID we are taking as 102. Okay, so that means Ravi, whose ID is 1, he has been enrolled in maths, and the student that is 2, that is her name is Asha. So she has just taken an enrollment in the course that is science. Okay, so this is the one that we are showing, that is showing the relationship using foreign key. Okay, so we have discussed about tables, primary key, foreign key, relationships, all of it. So let's just summarize it up and have a recapitulation of all of it. So table is like the notebook page where we are storing the data, and SQL is taking the information, like the data is actually the information. So SQL is operating over this data. Okay, coming down to primary key is the ID that is unique, or the special column you can call, that is unique accordingly, and of course of non null. Coming down to foreign key, that is linking a one or more tables together using a specific one column. Okay, then we have the relationship is actually connecting between, or connections between tables in different types, one to one, one to many, many to one. So this is all about the core concept accordingly. Fine. Let's just take an example and then discuss some of the commands in detail. Okay. The very first one, let's just take an example. Let's take this one, and here placing it. So in place of age, I am putting class. And here marks we are keeping. So let's put it as 5, 6. Next we are putting 3 and okay, 3 and 4, and giving the name as Aman, and giving the name as Neha. Okay. And here the classes we are giving again 6 and 5. And here the marks obtained is 70 and the marks obtained is 95. Let's just format this first and okay, fine. So this is the table. So this we are using this imaginary table for all explanations accordingly. Fine, whatever the explanation, we will be doing it for the command specifically. So we will be using it. So let's discuss about select one. Okay, select. We will be discussing select from and where. Okay, so what is select is what, next from is from where, and where is like which one. Like this kind of setup we are getting. Okay, so this three actually works together to ask any of the question. Like we are going for any of the query specifically. Okay, so this three works together to ask any of the specific questions. First is select. So what do you want to see? Select what do you want to see. Next from is like from which table, and where is like basically like with students only. So that are the specific three commands that we are getting. So now in a real time example, if I need to show, then I want to show me the name. Select is basically to show me the name. Basically, if we are collecting it all together, then I'll be asking this question like show me the name from the student register who are in class 5. Okay, so this is the update, and we can give the name of the table as student register. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, what this sentence says, like show me the name from student register who are in class 5. So what means the name? Coming down from where is from which table? That is student register table. Which one? That is from class 5 students only. Okay. So select is what? From is from where? From where means from which table specifically, and which one? That is from class 5 students, among the class 5 students. Okay. So that is coming up about the three commands that we generally need to get the querying up: select, from, and where. Okay. Next, coming down to filtering and sorting. So filtering and sorting, that is choosing and arranging. Choosing and arranging. So filtering means selecting only the needed data. Okay, filtering means like selecting only the needed data. So pick up only some points that would be needed. For example, only student from Delhi, only student above the marks 80. Okay, that is coming under filtering. Okay, now sorting. Sorting is basically arranging. Sorting means putting the data in a specific order. So arrange the student by marks that is highest to lowest, like from descending order. Like bigger would be first, lower would be down. Like that, arrange it. So arrange according to name, A to Z. In that way, I want to arrange. So this is the arranging. Hopefully, you are getting about filtering and sorting. The basic difference about filtering and sorting is filtering is like selecting only the new data, like only the data I would be needing. Okay, so only student having the marks above 80. So if I am calling for that, so I'll get the student name as Ravi because he has got 85. Aman because, sorry, not Aman, Asha because her marks is above 80, and Neha because her marks is above 80. So we will be excluding Aman. So that is coming down filter. Now coming down, if we are sorting the values accordingly, in that case, what we will be doing? We will be just taking it up and let's sort it. Largest to smaller. Okay, we have sorted it down. So now the sorting is coming up as 95, 90, 85, and 70. So we have sorted based on marks. The same thing we can do it in SQL. Okay, so now choosing data is just like in case of filtering, we are doing choosing the data, we are removing the rest apart from the choosed one, and in case of sorting, we arranges the data in a specific order and keep all of the data accordingly. There is no data that is left out. But in case of filter, we have the data that is leaving out. Okay, so this is about the filtering and sorting. And coming down to group by, so that simply means group by actually put the similar things together. Okay. So group by, like suppose I want to group by based on the city, based on the class. Suppose here I am asking based on the class I want to group by. So you can see we have two students, Neha and Ravi in same class, that is 5, and Asha and Aman in same class, that is in class 6. Right? So this is actually group by. So group by actually grouping the student based on a criteria. That is the criteria here is class. Okay. So in real time, if I need to give you an update, so group by is like make the first, like the terms first, and then actually calculate. So basically, suppose the teacher wants to divide the class into two groups based on the student who are coming from, suppose Delhi, and the student coming from Mumbai. Okay. So based on the place where they actually live, the student has been segregated or divided into two groups. Okay, so that is the group by operation that we are getting. Next, we are having this having a command. Okay, having is like the condition after grouping. Okay, it is the condition that we are doing after grouping. So having is like where, but for groups basically. Okay, just like the where command we have used, the having is also same, but it actually used with the groups. Having like where, but for groups actually. Okay, so suppose the teacher says, show me only those cities where the average marks are above 80. So the group students by different states, basically, not the cities. That is Mumbai and Delhi. It has been grouped, right? And now I want to get the average marks accordingly. So it will check the city average, like the base, like the not the city, the state-wise average that is above 80. Okay, that is coming down about this operation. Okay, hopefully you have understood all of the part that we have discussed in today's session. So we will be continuing in the next session accordingly. And in the next session, we will be continuing with the joins. Then we will be continuing with the subquery, the alias, all of this indexes, constraint, everything we will be discussing in detail. Okay. So after that, we will be directly moving down to the workbench to see how we can do it like in practical way. Okay, all of this now we have discussed in theoretical way so that you can understand it from scratch and things can be taken accordingly, right? But things are not that much clear to you people, right? So we will be just taking it accordingly and we'll just take it in that way. Okay. So thank you guys for joining. We will be continuing in the next session from here, and we will be just considering all of the stuff and like eventually we'll follow it. Okay. Okay. So thank you everyone. Bye.